Hello, welcome to another video. Okay, today we're going to be attempting something slightly more ambitious than usual. We're going to visit our first planet. That's right, planet. As you can see, we've updated our flag. I had a friend who thought our previous flag just didn't cut it. I tended to agree with him, so that is our new flag. Doesn't really get much more basic than that. Quickly run you through the craft. Pretty basic 3-stage unit like I'm always building. Nuclear section in the middle, big rockets on the outside. And here's the interesting thing. It appears to be an absolutely over-the-top rover I've built. Now I haven't really tested this out too much. My assumptions are it should go okay. I think I've gone over the top with what it needs to get there. Now we're going to do this 1, the brute force approach, and 2, the blind approach, just to show you what's involved. Alright, let's take off. First let's make sure the thing can hold itself together. Appears to be doing that. Not very aerodynamic at the top. I don't know if something like this would really fly too well in real life. Anyway, away we go. So we're certainly starting to move now. Seems relatively stable. Yeah, so far so good. Absolutely over the top this rover thing here. Like I said, I'm hoping we're going to land this on Eve. Eve is one of the closest of the other planets to visit. Still a bit time consuming. I mean, if everything goes well, this will probably still be a 40-minute video. I hope not, of course. It's easier when they're slower. And have I lost control there? I think I may have. I think we may have tipped the craft over a little bit. If I can just keep it at that angle, I will be very happy. In fact, it seems to want to just stay at that angle by itself. I was quite convinced it was going to fall over just before. Well, it appears not. Away it goes. We're starting to leave medium level atmosphere now. This is where wind resistance starts becoming less of an issue. Ooh. Well, we might see a bit of a sunrise. As we gain some real velocity now. Now I'm hoping we can do this in a continual shot. I don't really have any other options with no video editing. Alright, we'll see how we go. Yes, we're going to come up to our first jettison in just a moment. And see how that goes. Oh, I went to all the effort of adding those little jettison booster rockets. Wow, they're really spinning off. But the problem with that is they don't explode and cause huge explosions. Well, unlikely they do anyway. I guess that's sort of the purpose of the actual items. I'm not so interested in it if they don't explode. I like things blowing up for no reason. That is a magnificent view of the upper atmosphere, which we're about to exit soon. Bit of heat being produced here. Now our worst case scenario would be we lose all of our batteries in our launch or landing. I'm hoping I have supplied suitable amount of thermal protection for that. Oh yes, we still get some explosions. Nice. Probably should burn a bit higher to start with, isn't it? I really want to clear this atmosphere, stop some of this horrible drag which is happening. Let's see if we can get rid of most of that. It should disappear soon. Yes, nicely. There's a good example of the amount of heat the top of our craft can take. I'll put these brakes on. Doesn't make much difference, it's just frustrating seeing these wheels spin when, well, they shouldn't. Alright, we'll push ourselves closer to the horizon now. Alright, now hopefully this will be enough to get us into deep space. I'm quite confident, yeah, I think it will. Just have a little burn for a bit there. Yeah, we can see the sun now, it's finally risen. Or it hasn't really done anything, but we've obviously gotten high enough to see the sun from this horizon. Oh, and the moon is rising at the same time. You get a similar effect on Earth with this. In fact, you can see a sunset several times just by visiting the Burj Khalifa in Dubai. See the sunset on the bottom floor, you can actually go to the top floor and see it again. Fun fact actually, and because of the Ramadan which they celebrate there, they can only eat after sundown, if I recall, which means if you lived in the top of the tower, you'll be eating your dinner up to 15 minutes later than someone at the bottom of the tower. Just shows you, I don't think religion took into consideration building 700 meter buildings. But you don't necessarily need a 700 meter building to do that. You can do that just by going to a beach or anywhere that's quite close to sea level, and you can lie on the ground and watch the horizon, and then quickly stand on your feet and watch it again. It's actually quite brilliant. Alright, let's see how our burn goes now. Now, at this stage here, I've got no idea. Like I said, we're just blind firing this, and this is really good. Look at our periapsis come in. I'm going to increase this throttle. We'll bring the periapsis down to here. This is getting quite far out here, though. I don't really want that going too far out there. Not that it hugely matters. Just means we'll be going quite slow. We'll set Eve as our target now, shall we? And the setting node 2.1. Alright, let's see what we can do. Let's play with some mechanics, shall we? Well, first we'll make it look pretty. Bye-bye, Kerbin. Well, we had plenty of fuel then to leave and achieve escape velocity of Kerbin. Still got a little bit here. This fuel amount here is negligible. In fact, it's probably more inconvenient just manoeuvring the craft to use it. We might just jettison it. No, we won't actually, we'll keep it. Any fuel is fuel to be used. We don't want to just go jettisoning off usable fuel. I know I love inefficiency, but even that makes me lose sleep at night, the idea of that. Alright, we'll increase our speed, and we've now got our own orbit. Now we'll get to our ascending node here, and I believe we know what this is all about. It's about lining ourselves up. Eve is on a slightly more inclined orbit to us. So if I line ourselves up here, we see it needs to go down. Yes. Yes, it does. Move to our maneuver node, and it will take us 5 days and 4 hours to get there. About, I don't know, 10 seconds. 2, 1, okay, we're quite close to that now. Get our maneuver node, RCS on, should assist us in moving towards that node a bit easier. Speed it up, because 5 minutes and 20 seconds, I mean, I'm not going to wait that long. Jeez, I wouldn't I'd time warp even the remaining minute of it. There we are, 9 seconds, that should give us just enough time to actually get into our maneuver position. 3, 2, 1, and alright, we'll begin our burn, shall we? Now, we'll close this off. Our ascending node is dropping. Oh, yes, fantastic. There we go. Get this wiped off to 0, shall we? Oh, and we're out of fuel. Alright, well, that was to be expected. Alright, let's see what happens. I don't recall remembering what it's like to jettison in this section here. Big steel rails here. Let's see what happens. And I have 3 nuclear engines strapped there. Normally I'd have 3 separate fuel tanks for those nuclear engines. Eve's not very far away. You really don't need much delta V to get there. You don't really have to line your orbit up to land it. It's just, a retro burn and a bit of an aero brake. It's all aero brake with Eve. Okay. Let's see how we're going. 0.8 still. We'll take a little bit more of a burn than the previous engine was. I mean, obviously they don't produce anywhere near the amount of delta V as 3 of those other big boosters do. But that was good, actually. That tiny little smidgen of fuel we had left, that was actually, we quite efficiently used that to bring this ascending node down. Now, as we know, the nuclear engines, they are by far the most efficient engine in the game. The downside is, of course, they produce absolutely F-all delta V. It's just, they make it up for their efficiency, so if you don't mind a bit of a longer burn, then they're definitely the way to go in space. Sure, you can use the other engines, it's really no point. You'll just be carrying extra weight to get the thrusters there, and you probably won't see much more benefit except save a bit of time. Okay. That's quite good. I think so anyway. Now what I want to do here is get to our apoapsis, and I will move into a retrograde position there. Now I have absolutely no idea where Eve will be in relation to us. I'm not really looking to care either at this stage. Like I said, this is a pure brute force, pure winging it approach. We might not make it to Eve at all. Well, we'll have to. I mean, I won't upload the video if we don't make it to Eve. I don't care if we blow up descending into Eve. I mean, that's all part of the fun, especially if you watch my videos. The more carnage, the better. Oh, this is painfully slow, this section. And this is like inner planet orbiting we're doing. You can imagine the time required to reach both, Jewel and then Elu. I've never visited Elu in any version of Kerbal, actually. We'll Well, I'll eventually visit it in this series, but I mean, there's so much more to visit before then, and there's really nothing going on at Elu. It's similar to Moho here. It's sorry, not Moho, Dres, sorry. I have landed on Dres before, but that is one of the most difficult planets to get a gravity lock on. It's just so tiny, and for the size, I mean, it's just, there's no planet you can catch on first. It is the planet. There's nothing really going on there. Anyway, we shall move to our maneuver node here, which I really don't need, to be honest. Oh, I think I went past it accidentally. No, we're bang on our apoapsis. Well, I'm going to move into a retrograde position here, which we should be able to do relatively easy. It's just over there. Great. I really didn't want this going much farther out here. It was just taking too slow. We don't want to push it into Junior's orbit and come back. Alright, now here I should be able to really bring this periapsis down now. And we're going to work out what's going on. Now at this stage here, E's going to come boosting. Our best chances are we can either bring our apoapsis down here, so this will come within the apoapsis of Eve, in which case we will chase and catch up to it. I'd rather not do that. That would require a really huge amount of fuel burning. I mean, you can see just this burn alone here is taking quite a bit of a burn to bring it down. Yes, this is very time consuming. I was quite hoping we could sort of get into a good orbit just leaving Kerbin. I mean, if I bothered lining it up, coming out the right trajectory, we could have done this all with just a single burn leaving Kerbin, done a bit of like a gravity assist, I think, to do the rest. Look, you gotta either get lucky or really plan to do that there. Neither of which I was willing to do. And it sort of defeats the purpose. I really want to show you the brute force, blind as anyone can get to a planet approach. So I found that the first time I got to a planet was by sheer accident. I was just testing out the nuclear engines and happened to get into a close orbit around Jewel. I actually left the orbit. I got a periapsis for the first time of another planet anyway, so I sort of just adapted on that. My techniques are flawed, to say the least. Now, how much burn do we still have left? Oh, huge, absolutely huge. That's those nuclear engines for you. Alright, now I'm hoping we're going to start seeing a target. There we go, there's a target. And we're currently in our closest approach to Eve here. What's going on here? You can see our closest approach is coming down there. So I'm quite certain I'm just going to do a time warp back to this exact location. No, we'll do it manually, actually. We'll see what happens. Now you can see how slow I am. 7,000 meters per second compared to, what's that, 10,000 usually? Yeah, 10,000. I wonder the speed he's going, Moho. Again, I've never landed on Moho. I have been able to do a flyby before. It's just, it actually requires incredible amount of delta V to get this close to the sun. I mean, I'd be better off coming all the way out to Elu and coming back. Time consuming, I know, but the farther out you are, the more efficient your burns will be. Alright, now what's going on here? I'm just starting to catch up to Eve a bit now, but I'm guessing I'm going to go a lot slower than Eve out here. And I'm hoping when I hit here, it's going to tell me what our next position lineup will be. I really hope I don't have to do too much of a burn. It's more the time than the burn I care about. Now then, I will be here, and okay then. Now I'm curious, if I go into a prograde position and start burning a bit, so it will take a bit longer coming back, because this is telling me Eve is going to be here when I get here, so I'm going to come in too fast. So surely, if I then, oh geez, I still have time warp on here. I do a bit of a, well, anything other than full time warp in planetary is a bit useless anyway. I mean, you're not going to notice it. I'm going to expect this to come down, and it is significantly, very significantly. I think this should be our main burn. As you can see, I've already destroyed our ascending and descending nodes, so we are lined up to a T. And I think we'll have more than enough delta V to bring these two numbers together. Now, just to reiterate that, you can clearly see I'm going to come around here. I'll be going slower than Eve here, so I wanted Eve to catch up. And you can see I'm coming in too quick. I want a bigger apoapsis here, slower speed. Now we're going to get a lock here, I'm quite certain. We should be able to anyway. Eve has quite an outstanding amount of gravity. Usually anything under 1,000,000 kilometers is enough to get a bit of a lock on it. With the exception of Jewel with its Jupiter-like gravity. And alrighty, we're still a bit far. It doesn't look like we quite got the periapsis lock yet, but I believe as they come closer, and bam, there we go. As simple as that. Now, we have a look at our EPapsis of 56 million. Is that going down still? It is. How low can we get it? How low will you go? Because, yeah, the lowest I can get it in one. But I should be able to get it very close. Again, the key is making sure our ascending and descending nodes are set to 0. Oh, it's 0.4 now. Interesting. But anyway, that is very interesting. I don't know how that sort of happened there. But anyway, it's still going down. How low will it go? I won't expect it to get too low, seeing as our nodes are that far out. Is it still going down? It is still going down, though. 3.9, 3.7, 3.0. Oh, it's definitely going back up now. Okay, so here's what we're going to do. I'm going to move up to our ascending nodes here, which are wildly out now. And yes. Yes. Oh, is that basing it on? Because where am I? I'm here. Is that talking about the second time I come round? Is this my orbit? I think it's the second orbit that's going to be thrown out. So ignore the ascending and descending nodes there. I'm quite certain they are on my secondary orbit. And that's because I'll get slingshot a bit by Eve. Yes, it would be. That is at... what was our periapsis again? It's about 4 million. I'll come down when I'm here at my true apoapsis. I'll adjust that a bit more there. Yeah, you can see my new orbit's going to get thrown off. That's why these nodes can be a bit confusing sometimes, because this is going to be the orbit I'll do after my slingshot with Eve, and it will throw our descending nodes way out. Okay, I'm now at the most efficient place to burn again, and you know we're quite happy with what we've done so far. I mean, I'll just have a little bit of a burn. So we're now got a Eve periapsis of 5 million. I'll just do a little burn here for a second, see what happens. If I can find it. I think that was going up. That was definitely going up. There was no doubt about that. Oh, I'm set to prograde. Oh, I don't want that. Actually, let's radial out a little bit for a second. It's just a matter of, you know, tweaking our direction to see what's going on here. No, that's definitely going up. So we'll go radial in then. Again, while I'm this far out, this is where you do all your tweaking here. I mean, we'll require... I'll need insane delta V to... Oh, that's my RCS affecting that. Again, in the previous video we discussed how RCS can affect it. I can't see, is that going down? Yes, it is going down now. So do all your burns here if you can. Where am I? 4.6, 4.5. Oh, it just keeps jumping out of my view. 4.1, 3, 6, 7. I think that's slowing down already there. Yeah, it's going back up again now. Okay. Now, I'm just going to play with... I'm not happy with that. Let's see what happens if I go... Oopsie. I'm going to turn it off of target. That is just pissing me off now with all the extra stats. It's confusing me. Now I can clearly see it 3.7. That's not too bad. Down. Does that bring it up or down? 3.3. Well, you can just see by the amount that's affected it. That's got to be good for us. So I'm going to move to our maneuver node again. And what is that set to? 100 degrees. That's on the triangle, so that's actually set to normal and anti-normal. I don't believe I normally use those two sides. I'll have to look it up. So it's the normal we're going to be moving to. And oh yeah, look at that drop. How low can we get it? Ideally, I want 60,000. Can we do that from this distance? I think we will. We did all the previous hard work to do it. 8, 7, 6, 5, 4, 3, 2, 1. Drop it down just a little bit. Oh, look at that. 66. That's a landing orbit there. Well, that's really the hard work done, just like that. Now it's the fun. Let's reap the benefits of all of that hard work. And it really wasn't that much hard work. We came out blind. We had a horrible lineup, terrible trajectory. Had to burn, had to orbit round again. We've been in space a year and 370 odd Kerbal days. Yet, we are getting there still. And again, I mean, Eve is one of the easier places to visit. I guess the hardest part is designing the craft to be able to land on Eve. It has 10 times the pressure that Kerbin does. Yeah, and realistically, if it's to be a Venus counterpart, it should be 90 times the pressure, and I can certainly tell you it's not corrosive acid its atmosphere is made from. Although it should be. I mean, the Kerbal Wiki states its oceans are seas of mercury, but if you crash a Kerbal or a craft straight into it, it doesn't behave like mercury in my mind. But maybe, you know, mercury will behave differently at that kind of pressure. Anyway, we're about to meet our orbit with it, and pew, just like that. Welcome. So as you can see, we are very straight with it already. I have a periapsis of 67, and that should be enough to slow down and come back. I'm sure its atmosphere starts at 70. I don't know how fast we're going to be coming in, so just in case, let's radial in a bit. So I'll click the radial in, especially because it's just down there. And we'll drop this to maybe 60. There we go, just to be safe. I honestly have no clue how this is going to go. I seriously will go retrograde. And can we see Eve yet? There it is. Beautiful. Alright, let's move closer. This is another good point. I have not even bothered to look where we're going to land. I mean, is there going to be land? Is there water? I do not want to land in water, for example. Where is the planet? But, oh, that could not be any more perfect. I'm fairly certain we're going to land in the... If that's the periapsis there. We'll lose a lot of speed coming in. Okay. Now, let's just wing it, I guess. This is all about winging it anyway. No, we'll come in a bit more. And I forget the planet does rotate, so we'll just double check that line up there. That doesn't take rotation into consideration. Look, I'm fairly confident with how we're doing this. 60,000, we're all going to be slowing our descent a fair bit. Look, just to be safe, let us radial in just a smidgen more. We should have done this farther out. It's a bit more inefficient from here. Yeah, you can see before we were dropping kilometers off straight away, but now it's... I'm just going to leave it like this. Let's see how we go. We got here anyway, so look, the video demonstration is essentially a success, even if we don't land successfully, or even land a little. Well, we have Mr. Will Van Kerman. And let's see how we go again a bit closer. So we're going to come in across the top. Lovely. Lovely, lovely. Wait, till this hits to about 100,000. 3, 2, 1. Alright. Oh, you get some really interesting glows and atmosphere effects from here. Can't remember, does Eve have immune of us? Oh, I'm sure Eve does have immune. There it is. What's it called? Gilly! Ah! Now Gilly, that's the one. That's actually the smallest object in the whole game, Gilly. It's not overly difficult to get to either. I mean, you know, once you get to Eve, you can gravity assist all the rest. Let's jettison this final bit. And is that just an ocean, or is that a crater there? No idea. Alright, now I've jettisoned this big section of craft here, which we really used... I should have checked how much fuel was actually left in there, but I'm sure we had heaps of fuel. Oh, and we're going to start burning up straight away. In fact, let's get these radiators cranking. I probably should have done this a bit quicker. These are just to protect the wheels. Okay, that's not very good. Now, hopefully, that was just my tyres exploding. That is truly what I hope. Because I discovered... Oh, wow, we're coming in fast. Okay, well, we got the radiators on. Ablator, which is certainly being eaten up. It's the biggest ablator you can get. It doesn't spread across the wheels. Now, those tyres, they got vaporized instantly. That's not a concern. If you get your Kerbal out, you can actually go repair your tyres, which is what I'm planning to do. Look at that G-force. That's going to move into the red section. Yep, the higher that G-force gets, that's the faster we're slowing down. Oh, we are really using a lot of force coming in. You can see... Now the amount of G-force this guy would be putting up with at this stage. Can't really see much. All he can see is That. Yep, and you see his velocity dropping off. Which is dropping off quick. I think that was quite a healthy angle we've come in at. Despite the explosions, those explosions were sort of expected, I will admit. The rubber tyres were protruding out from the radiators. These radiators are really to block the heat from getting to the batteries. My batteries are by far the most important thing. If we have no batteries, we can't do anything with this craft. We're not moving forwards, we're not turning our lights on, we're not transmitting any science. Now, are we going to land in this crater? We might. And that hard bit there is really over now. We actually didn't really burn through that much ablator. Used a little bit of power to cool the radiators down, which you can see are glowing nicely there. And I think it's the fact this is an extremely un-aerodynamic design is the reason for it slowing down as fast as it did. So let's jettison some stuff, shall we? Can I move across it all? Maybe. Oh! That honestly wasn't expected. And please don't hit, please don't hit. Oh, it's hitting me! I don't know what we've got going on now. We're just a probe with some stuff attached. We're gonna land, ish. I'll wait till we get upright again, if we do. Let's flip it around, and... yay! That should keep us straight at least. Now then, looking at this probe here, I don't know if the wheels are something we can actually repair looking at that. Again, I haven't really tested this craft out too well. I assumed there'd be little stick things coming out here and I'd still be able to just attach the tyres back onto it. I guess I could have done another orbit around and slowed down. Again, it all comes down to impatience. Even without the wheels, this is still a somewhat functioning base anyway. It's just disappointing, of course, not being able to move around the surface. I'm fairly certain last time I had tyres that exploded, I was able to climb out and reattach them. But there is nothing, there isn't even so much as a stub from where I think the tyres should be. So, yeah. I don't think we're going to be doing any roving when we land. But that's okay, we can fix that design for next time. We're definitely getting to Eve, no problem. And I'm actually really happy with where we're landing. We're landing inside this gigantic crater. Oh, more explosions. Oh, he probably won't hit. Actually, this is a good point here. Watch the debris, watch our altitude. And always work out how far it is from you. So she's at 1.2, move to 1.3. And that gives you an idea of how far the ground is as well. When he explodes, obviously that speed difference, the distance between us will be the actual altitude, because who knows the altitude of the ground here? I mean, you'd expect it to be below sea level. Well, it's only going to be a safe landing. We just have no tyres, so again, it's far from a rover we're necessarily landing with. Well, it's actually... oh, we saw the thing explode, so I forgot to check the speed and the distance. Well, I guess it doesn't matter. I mean, it matters more if you're using a burn to land, which we're not. We're using just the parachutes. And oh, there's those funny rock things here over here. They appear to be everywhere. Oh, it's landing a bit close to the ground now. I mean, we honestly could probably land at 13 meters per second. We won't though. We'll land much slower. We have a proper chute. I mean, these are actually just drogue chutes from memory that have just come out here. I'll wait until we're much closer though. I really don't want to have to... yeah, I'm impatient, of course. Was that something else hit the ground before? Alrighty. Alright. Big enough chute. Oh, we're gonna land. honestly, this is quite a safe, snug landing, when you think about it. Alrighty. Well, our tyres were blown off completely, there was no doubt about that. Now, the most important thing, of course, is, for the love of God, extend that ladder. You're like, oh, you can just jump back up that height. No, no you can't on Eve. You really cannot jump at all on Eve. Well, you can jump, it's just next to useless. I mean, show them what the jump looks like on Eve. Yeah. That wasn't clipping, that was real. Yeah. Again. There is no jumping on Eve. Now, we'll just quickly inspect our craft. Now, is that true? We have really lost everything here. We have absolutely no tyres, there is no doubt about that. Okay, well that's we can fix that later. We'll work out a way to get the tyres to survive the re-entry. Probably the next thing I will attempt is... Oh. Yes, not disappointed with the explosions. I don't know how we hit the ground with parachutes before the falling stuff, but anyway. Looks like some lights were blown up as well. In fact, this whole side really took some nasty damage. The base looks okay in general. So what we're going to do, we're going to plant the first of our new flags. And we're going to continue to plant these flags around the place. So we'll get up a bit high. I mean, we can use RCS, but it literally does nothing. Wait. And we shall plant our new flag. Yay! That does look a lot cleaner. So we'll just call this one Eve New, shall we? And something like How's the flag? Mate, because I'm Australian. Oh. And can typically spell. Alrighty, take a surface sample. Ooh, very strong purple tint to it. Or is it grey? It just looks purple because everything else on Eve is purple. I don't know. I don't think I could say. Do an EVA report. Yeah. Oh, there's still more explosions going off if you heard that. And we'll climb in our base, shall we? As you can see, there's no board. Just grab for the here. So you would literally be stuffed without that tiny bit of extra ladder there to get into the craft. This is why I would say always pack a ladder even if you don't need it. Eve, you need it. Without a doubt, you need it. I mean, look, we're still a functional base to a degree. I mean, we've got our working lights. In fact, we've got all the lights still on this side. That's what the front of the craft actually looks like. That is the front of my craft, sorry. So you got the window for looking through, so you can do your first person driving. And again, what would have been wheels. So, look, maybe I might tweak it a bit later on down some time, see what's going on there. We'll send some science anyway. But yeah, as you can see, I brought a whole plethora of scientific instruments here. I can log all of that. Look, these are worth some pretty decent science on their own already. Like, this alone... Oh, seismometer. Yes. Oh, we're capturing heaps of science here. And I guess one advantage is because the craft was designed to have enough power, it can actually go boosting around for a period of time. It has more than enough power to transmit all of these experiments. Let's transmit. Alrighty. Well, that really brings us to the end of today's mission. Let me know if you think it was a success or a fail. I mean, I definitely specified from the start, as long as we get to Eve, it demonstrates the point I was looking to. And we definitely got here. And look, we landed here and we're alive. And look, as long as we call it a base, not a rover, this is a 100% successful mission. However... yeah, we all know it was meant to have wheels, and wouldn't it have been cool to go exploring off down here? Not that I would have done it, I mean the amount of time that would have taken to really explore, but it would have been nice to at least pretend we could have explored over there. But I honestly won't even get out to do anything here. I mean there's a really close rock there, but I can't RCS to it, I have to walk everywhere here. That's not something particularly interesting I want to do again. Alrighty, well this is our first planetary mission. We're going to visit Juna next. I think this particular craft in general will have a much better chance of landing on Juna. It may need more parachutes though. You sort of have to kill your velocity quite significantly with Juna. Or come in at an extremely shallow periapsis. Anyway, like I always say, until next time.